Back with our political analyst, John Dadian, to talk all things elections. So get out your ballot if you have it and take some notes. Right now we're going to focus on local propositions. So we're going to get right into it and try to get through as many as we can, John. But Prop D is the one that everyone is talking about, the half-cent sales tax. And how does it look going into it? It's very close, and you hear sort of the momentum building in the last few days.
Yes, that proposition is just within the city of San Diego, and the most recent polls that have been public. I hear rumors that the campaigns have their own private polls, but the most public poll shows that it's dead even with a pretty large undecided vote or independent vote. So this is going to go down to the wire. Now, having said that, keep in mind that there's going to be a large percent of absentee votes, meaning people have already voted on it. So we really don't know.
So just as a reminder, if it passes, what happens?
What Prop D would do is be a half-cent sales tax within the city of San Diego for 5 years. So they're calling it a temporary tax, that it would go away unless the government,
And police and fire chiefs are saying it's very essential in order to keep the services, and they'd have to start cutting. Whereas the opposition will say, hey, it doesn't necessarily go to those city services.
That's exactly right. Specifically, what it says is there's 10 conditions that have to be met. Even after it passes by the ballot, there's still 10 conditions that need to be met before the tax goes into effect. And things such as fire service, you do have very strong proponents, the police chief, fire chief, very well-respected leaders in our community saying we need this, but the other side says we respect police and fire, but doesn't mean that it's going to go there. The politicians can do what they want.
Okay, so that one's very close. Now let's talk about parcel taxes. Prop J, we've been talking about that one a lot for the San Diego Unified School District, saying that they need this in order to not cut teachers.
That's right. And again, big difference between this and Prop D is Prop D can be passed just by a simple majority of the constituent city of San Diego. Within the San Diego Unified constituents, has to be 2/3. Very tough to do. Very tough to do in this climate. So it's
just saying it's $98 for a household, and then for a business it's something like $450. It's hard to get anyone to spend money during tough economic times anyway.
Well, one of the main arguments is actually in the formal argument in the ballot statement is that, San Diego County has an unemployment rate of about 10%. Now it's not the time. We both know people that are really barely meeting, their mortgage every month, and it might not seem like a lot of money per se, but if it makes a difference and then somebody losing the house, so it's a very tough time to put it on the ballot.
Okay, and let's just mention Prop O, which is down for the South Bay viewers out there. That's another parcel tax that affects a school district, the South Bay Union School District, which is much smaller. But it's kind of the same amount of money per parcel.
Yeah, and again, I always smile when they say, oh, it's just small, don't worry about it, etc. But again, if it affects your pocketbook and if it makes a big dent, which it does in some people, so absolutely, you'll see there's quite a few local propositions that several incorporated cities have their own little propositions on. And what the fear is that's what they call down the ballot. So once people get already confused by the state propositions, then they go to the larger governments, such as the county and the city, then they get to the
then your brain starts going like this.
And that's what's happening.
Okay, so Prop A, the fair and open competition, talk about this one. Is this one close, or how is it looking right now?
I haven't seen any polls, and because, again, this one's kind of not really under the radar. Now, the important thing about this is because it is a county initiative, anybody that's within our voice can vote on this. It's within the entire county of San Diego.
And what would happen if it passes?
What it deals with is whether or not there's a requirement of project labor agreements. Interestingly, the County Board of Supervisors have already basically passed the same regulation. So why did they put it on the ballot? The difference is, if you vote on the Board of Supervisors, that can be changed with another vote of Board of Supervisors, and people are concerned that 2, 4, 6 years from now, supervisors may change. If it's passed on the ballot, the only way it can be changed is put on the ballot again, and so they want to make sure that this can never happen.
Okay, and just really quickly on the supervisors race, this is one that there hasn't been much of a shakeup since the 90s, but you've got Bill Horn and Ron Roberts in races that are being closely watched.
That's exactly right, and the opponents use the phrase you just used, that there needs to be a shakeup. They've been on there for 15 years, etc. Interestingly, the two supervisors that are in, they use the argument the reason there hasn't been a shakeup is because government's well run, and they're very smart by saying, compare us to the city of San Diego. If you want a shakeup, city has term limits, then you should vote for term limits. We're the only government agency regionally being run, well, and they've gotten national awards, so it's a very powerful argument.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate both segments. And, of course, if you didn't see the one on state propositions, which was really good in the way you broke it down, they can catch that online.
Very good.
Good to see you.
Great to see you,
Thank you. So go to san diego6.com and click on Hot Topics.